What is up, everybody? This is George Acorn from Audi Club, e-tron Connect. I just wanted to give a quick update as to what's going on with our Project e-tron and a trip I'm taking this week as we're due to go on a road trip. So normally during the summer, I take a road trip to Maine for summer vacation. With COVID, we're not doing that. So we're going to take a trip this weekend instead, a family trip to the Finger Lakes in New York, and we're going to take the e-tron. So I was going to walk through first what the latest update on Project e-tron, and then some of the planning I do to work on getting us to a location, not just stopping at any stops, but the most efficient, and then stops that are cool for my kids and my wife, etc. So first up, Project e-tron was updated in the most recent copy of Quattro magazine, the summer or Q3 issue of 2020, out now. If you're a member of Audi Club, if you're not, think about joining. We do a decent amount of e-tron stuff in there as well, but it's general Audi, and it's one of the main benefits that comes with being a member of Audi Club. Of course, many more. You can do events with the club and a great social network. But anyway, what you're seeing here is some of the shoot that we did of the e-tron for this latest issue of the magazine, and the focus is on racks, so roof rack and trailer hitch rack. So really quickly, using the Audi accessories roof rack that you can get at your dealership, and that is basically compatible with Thule Rapid Aero. We are doing, this is the Audi roof box. We threw in some maroon stickers on the side, just keep the car from being all stickered up, and a bike rack on top with my Cannondale mountain bike. But those are all, again, Audi accessories pieces. And interestingly, I have an extra bike attachment that's missing some parts, and I went onto Thule's website. You can buy parts even for these, so good to know that should you ever break a critical piece or anything like that. And then at the back, this is a Thule XT2 hitch mount, heavy duty for heavy weight. We have two e-bikes that we use as pit bikes, Super 73 electric bikes, the S1 model. We use as pit bikes at events and races and such, and occasionally when I travel, I take them with us as well. That is, again, all updated and highlighted in the magazine, and then we'll be putting that on the blog at e-tronconnect.com or audiclubna.org/e-tron. Now, normally when I'm prepping to do a long trip like I did last fall to Vermont, we looked at where to go for not just stops. I mean, Electrify America's app is great. We'll know where all the high speed stops are, so that's good to know. But otherwise, sometimes one, there may not be Electrify America, which is the fastest, and then two, sometimes it's nice to find stops that are kind of a little more zen, a little more relaxed for my wife and kids. If I can drop them off at a nearby bookstore, or there's some nice restaurants around, etc. Particularly if it's a 50 kilowatt and I've got more than 20, 30 minutes that I would have at Electrify America, it's nice to sort of pre-qualify. And of course, just finding something is nice. So first of all, we are from Hershey, Pennsylvania. We'll be going up to Skaneateles, New York. So it's about a 5-hour drive near Syracuse. And so first things first, I did realize that there is a Electrify America at Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. So let's share a map here quickly, and I can kind of run you through how I would normally do that. I have several apps that I use. Electrify America is one, ChargePoint's another, PlugShare is another. So I just sort of surf all of those to kind of see what my options are when I get off the main Electrify America network. Electrify America is the go-to, unless it's not, in which case then I start doing a little bit of research. Most of this stuff, electric stops are also in the Navi in the car, but again, because I like to pre-qualify it with wife and kids, I don't really want to mess around with doing it on the fly because I want to be a little more informed. So I go ahead and do research. So let's share the screen quickly. Here we go. So we have Google Maps, and it's currently centered in my location, Hershey, Pennsylvania. I'm going to look for preloaded the address for the Electrify America station, which is at a Sheetz location in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Home. Should be Hershey, so we'll plot it. As you can see, there are a couple of routes. It actually, when I did this last night ahead of time, it also gave me a few more. One was up 15, Route 15 along the Susquehanna River. A little bit longer, a little bit slower. Might be good. As you may recall, I'm going to be carrying, I'll show you my setup for this trip. We'll be running 4 bikes, so 2 on the back, normal bikes, not electric bikes, so not quite as heavy, but still aerodynamic drag. 2 on top. And so not exactly, and of course I have my 22-inch SQ7 wheels. So it is not the most efficient e-tron, right? Like I'm not the slowest driver either, but I find I get about 180, 185 miles to a charge with the 22s and without the roof rack and bikes. So that's going to slow me down a little bit more. I'm planning on about 160 is sort of my guess, but I'll learn tomorrow on my way up to Bloomsburg. Just one cool photo here. Last time we went on a bike trip, we swung by, unintentionally, Waze took us by 3 Mile Island. You might remember the nuclear power plant here in Pennsylvania that had a near meltdown in the 70s. And I thought that was kind of cool. So I stopped. Anyway, so we'll be going first up to the Electrify America in Bloomsburg. We'll probably just take 81, the fastest route, 81, and then get on some back roads here. Now that's only, as you can see, about 75 miles. So there's no danger of using up most of my charge in that case. So I'm going to probably run at full speed or even a little faster than speed limit, perhaps, whatever traffic's doing, but just to kind of see how the e-tron fares. I've never run a long trip with 4 bikes on it, and I'm curious how much of my efficiency I lose in that. And then our next stop will be Tully, New York, which is our first stop for a couple days. Now that's 173 miles, and that's going to be, well, 159 if I take 81 the whole way up, and that's a bit of a concern. So I did do a little bit of research and found that there is in the Southern Tier Welcome Center in Kirkwood, New York, so that's as 81 crosses into New York, there is a 50 kilowatt charger. So that's in 111 miles or 96, depending on how you count it. Either way, we'll probably go the 96 route because that's keeps us off the main road. It'll keep it a slower pace, and I'll see less aerodynamic drag because on these curves I'll probably be regenning a little bit, hopefully some downhill through those mountains, and then I won't be pushing so much air at high speed on I-81, which is definitely a fast limited access highway. So I might get there faster on 81 in a normal car, but with the bikes and everything else, I'm trying to conserve my charge. When we get to the Southern Tier Welcome Center, we'll probably stop, have a bite to eat. We'll probably grab that back in Bloomsburg or maybe along the way, but that'll be a little bit longer of a stop because it's only a 50 kilowatt charger. Hopefully, I think there's one of each, 150 kilowatt and one level 2. So we may have to wait for the 50 kilowatt to become available. But as we get up here into New York, beggars can't be choosers. So we'll take what we can. And then from there, we're on to Tully, New York, which is another, let's see here, if we go up 81. So 65 miles. So if I'm down to around 95 miles charge, I think the house may have some, like a wall charger, but even there overnight is going to get me maybe 12 miles, what I found on just plugging into the wall. So unless it's a pleasant surprise and the house has a level 2, I'm going to be just kind of making do with what I have. And then we're there for a couple days. We probably won't leave the house much other than to get food, so we probably won't use much. And then after that, we're headed to Skaneateles, New York, which is not far. Now, let's see here. I have done a little pre-research on this. Ithaca, New York, there's a college there that's down here south of us. There's a 50 kilowatt chargers at a dealership. Also in, let's see here, Waterloo Premium Outlets. There's an Electrify America. The next closest one is over here north of Seneca Lake. And we'll be staying here in Skaneateles. So probably what we'll do when we leave Tully before we check in where we're headed in Skaneateles is head out here to the Waterloo Premium Outlets, top it off, and then there's a animal sanctuary north of Cayuga Lake, and we'll probably hit that with the kids. So then once we get back to Skaneateles, there's a level 2 in the town center, which is, or somewhere near the town center at least, walking distance to where we'll be staying. So I can charge up overnight there, but otherwise then coming back, this will be an interesting one. I'm looking to go, let's see here, again, we will go to Skaneateles, New York. And the Bloomsburg stop is go. So the shortest way is 160 miles. And if you may remember, I'm estimating I have about 160 miles charge running at speed. Now these are back roads, so I may possibly do better versus staying on 81, which would be 187 miles. But even without the 22s, I'm going to be pushing it to do that, or So, because all of this would be at speed 65 miles per hour or more. So I figure I'll go the direct route down through the mountains, and we may or may not stop. As you can see, one of the cool things is it does take us down along the lakes and through Ithaca, New York. Again, Ithaca, there is a Chevy dealer and I believe a Toyota dealer. Certainly the Chevy dealer just north of the city that has a 50 kilowatt charger. So I'm thinking we'll go to Ithaca, charge up. That'll knock some miles off of it, 40 miles off. So off of 165, that'll take it down to 125. Very manageable. I can get the whole way to Bloomsburg, then charge up, and I get home no problem. So, in checking this, Ithaca's a cool little city. I can drop the kids off and, check out the gorges near the Ithaca College. Most of these stops aren't I'm not, obviously with COVID, even if I do find cool restaurants and things like that, I don't really know that they'll want to spend too much time there. So for now, it's Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania Sheets, and then on to New York Welcome Center. So should be a fun trip. And again, we are taking 4 bikes, 2 on the back, not the heavy e-bike, but 2 mountain bikes on top, and a heck of a lot of aerodynamic drag, plus 2 kids who really like the air conditioning on high, my wife, and a bunch of baggage. So we'll see what kind of efficiency we get, and I will share that at a later time. So hope you found that interesting. Thanks for joining.